So we're talking today a little bit about how we select our music, some of the components of selecting the music and how to make them work for your worship service, or even having a theme at the beginning of your process in selecting your music. How do you kind of make it all work together? And so we want to talk about actually the process of selecting music, just music in general. Where do you get your ideas for music? Where are some of your resources? And one of the areas of resources that I often talk about when people are saying we're looking for something new, we're looking for something coming out that we might not have heard before, and I'll look at conferences around the country where, if it's Catalyst or if it's the Orange Conference, who are their house bands, who are the bands that are going to be leading worship. A lot of times those are some great resources for some great worship music, and that's an area that it takes a little work sometimes, but that's a way of getting music. Some other ways, Jonathan, that you can share about how we get music.
Well, one really good way to share and just like get music is just by being really involved with other worship leaders and just keeping those close friendships. It's not to steal anything from anybody, but you keep in that communication, and you know what's working for their church could work really great for your church as well. If their congregation is responding, there's a good chance that your congregation will respond well as well. And you know, it's a multi-generational thing where you can get a song and it sounds really good, but it might not be good for your Sunday morning congregation, to where you can pass it along. If it's working good for their youth, you can pass it to your youth or your college age or any age of ministry that you have going on in your church. So a really amazing form of just keeping up to date on what's coming out and what's working in the church body right now is to just keep that good communication and friendships with others, as well as it's just a good accountability to have in general to keep your spirits up and be able to move through and just work through all the different trials of being a worship leader.
That's actually really true. Another thing about music, and it's a trend that's been going on for a while, is bringing in and reinventing old hymns. There are a lot of great hymns out there, and it speaks to all generations. It speaks to the multi-generational church, which many of our churches are, and it gives an opportunity for your band to be a little bit more creative in developing a song, a hymn, in a different way. Jonathan and I introduced the doxology and the fuller versions of adding more verses than what we normally do at the offering time in a traditional setting, and that has resonated with our congregation really well, in actually the contemporary as well as traditional people. And Jonathan developed a different melody to the hymn, and it has just been very powerful for our congregation. So just thinking a little out of the box of maybe not even attempting to do a hymn, give it a shot. You might find a new message in the way you can include your congregation than what you've done before. So always looking at just being a little bit more creative and not sticking to the same standard. Again, like Jonathan says, talking with other worship leaders, collaborating,